Picture a coin in your hand. It looks like silver. It feels like silver. It has an emperor's face on it, official, government issued, the real thing. But it isn't silver anymore. Now here's the part that should make you stop. This same trick, this exact move is happening right now. Not with a coin, with the money in your bank account. The number on your screen looks the same as it did last year. It says the same thing it always said. But every year, it buys less. Rome figured this trick out 2,000 years ago. They ran it for 300 years. And at the end of it, people were left holding coins that were basically copper discs with a thin coat of paint. This is the story of how that happened and why it's still happening today. Let's go back to the beginning. The year is 211 BC. Rome just introduced a new coin called the denarius. It's about 95% pure silver. It's solid. It's real. And because it's real, people trust it. Merchants across the entire Roman world accept it. Soldiers fight for it. Farmers sell their crops for it. For hundreds of years, the denarius is basically the dollar of the ancient world. Everyone knows what it's worth. Everyone takes it. Now here's the question. It's extra if you're an emperor and you need more money to pay your soldiers, to rebuild a city, to fight a war. What do? You can't just print more coins. You only have so much silver. Or can you? Here's the trick. And this is the part I want you to really understand. You take 1,000 silver coins. You melt them all down. Then you mix in some copper. Then you mint the coins back. Now you have 1,100 coins instead of 1,000. You just made 100 coins out of nothing. The coins still look silver. They still have the emperor's face. They're still called denarii, but each one has a little less silver in it than before. That's it. That's the whole trick. And it works for a while. Nero was the first emperor to do this on a big scale. In 64 AD, a fire burned down most of the city of Rome. He needed money fast to rebuild, to pay the army, to keep people fed. So he melted down the coins, added copper, and got back more coins than he started with. The silver content dropped from 99% to about 90%. Nobody noticed right away. The coins still looked the same, but someone always figures it out first. And it's never the emperor. It's the baker. One morning, a baker in Rome starts getting paid with coins that feel a little lighter than usual. He doesn't know why, he can't prove anything, he just knows something is off. So he raises the price of bread. Not by much, just a little, just enough to protect himself. And that's where inflation starts. Not in a palace, not in a meeting with advisors, in a market stall with a baker who just wants to break even. Nero started it, but every emperor after him made the same choice because they had no other option. Here's the problem. To stay emperor, you needed the army loyal to you. If the army stopped liking you, they would kill you and pick someone else. This was not unusual. It happened constantly. So you had to pay the soldiers well. You had to pay them on time. And you had to keep raising their wages to stop them from switching sides. But the army kept getting bigger. In the 1st century AD, Rome had about 250,000 soldiers. By the 3rd century, that number had grown to 600,000. Double the army, double the wage bill. Where does that money come from? You already know the answer. By the time Septimius Severus became emperor in 193 AD, the silver content in each coin had dropped to about 50%, half silver, half copper. When Severus was dying, he called his 2 sons to his bedside. These were the men who would rule Rome after him. His last words to them were this: be harmonious, enrich the soldiers, scorn everybody else. That was it. That was the entire plan. Pay the army. Everything else, the people, the merchants, the farmers, they don't matter. His son Caracalla took that advice seriously. Caracalla came up with a new coin. He called it the Antoninianus. He told everyone it was worth 2 of the old coins. But here's the thing, it only had 1.5 times the silver. So every Roman who accepted the new coin and thought they were getting 2 coins worth of value was actually getting less. It was a quiet robbery. Nobody put a knife to your throat. He just changed the coin. And he did it to raise army pay by 50%. Same reign, same trick, twice. People started to notice. They began saving the older, purer coins and spending the new ones as fast as they could. Why hold on to something worth less when you can pass it along? The good coins disappeared. The bad ones stayed in circulation. By 265 AD, less than 50 years later, the coins were bronze with a thin coat of silver painted on the outside. thin, like paint on a wall. Within weeks of being made, that silver coating would rub off in your hands. You'd be holding a copper disc. And at that point, merchants stopped accepting them altogether. Farmers stopped bringing food to market. People went back to trading goods directly, grain for tools, cloth for meat. The most powerful economy in the world had collapsed back to swapping stuff. By 301 AD, Emperor Diocletian had had enough. Prices had gone completely out of control. A loaf of bread that cost 1 coin 100 years earlier now cost hundreds of coins. And the coins weren't even real silver anymore. So Diocletian did what governments always do when they've broken something. He passed a law to fix it. He issued the edict on maximum prices. Over 1,400 goods and services got price caps. Bread, wine, meat, clothing, wages for workers, all of it had a legal maximum price. And the punishment for selling above that price? Death. It didn't work. Merchants looked at the legal price, did the math, realized they'd be selling at a loss, and simply stopped selling. Farmers kept their grain at home, traders closed their stalls, the shelves went empty. Not because there was no food, but because no one was willing to sell it at a price that lost them money. The law that was supposed to fix hunger made hunger worse. It was quietly dropped a few years later. Then came Constantine. He introduced a new gold coin, the solidus. Almost pure gold. Stable. Trustworthy. It would stay the same for the next 700 years. Here's the part that stings though. The gold coins went to the wealthy, to the ruling class, to the military. Ordinary people, farmers, craftsmen, small traders, they still got paid in the bronze discs. Two different currencies in the same empire. If you were rich, your money held its value. If you were poor, yours had been hollow for decades already. Let me bring this to today. In 1970, $100 could buy what costs $858 today. The bill still says 100. The number hasn't changed. But the silver has? Here's how it works now. Rome added copper to silver coins to make more money from the same amount of metal. Today, central banks type numbers into a computer to create more money from nothing. One is physical, one is digital. The math is the same. You make more units, each unit buys less. The trap is also the same. Rome could not cut the army. The moment you cut soldier pay, you lose power. The United States spends $954 billion on its military every year, more than the next 6 countries in the world combined. That number is not going down. You can't raise taxes enough to close the gap. So you do what Rome did. From December 2025, the US central bank started buying $40 to $60 billion in government debt every single month, just adding money to the system. The dollar fell 11% in the first 6 months of 2025 alone. The national debt hit $39 trillion. The coins look the same, they always do. There is one difference worth saying. The US dollar is the world's reserve currency. Almost every country on earth holds dollars and trades in dollars. That means America can spread the cost of printing across the whole world, not just its own people. Rome couldn't do that. That difference buys time. It does not change what happens at the end. Every empire that has ever debased its currency has eventually faced the same reckoning. Rome just did it first and left the blueprint. So back to the coin in your hand. The denarius went from 95% silver to 2% silver over 300 years. Nobody woke up one morning to find their money gone. It happened slowly, a little less silver each decade, a little more copper, prices rising a little every year. Slowly. Then suddenly. The baker figured it out first. He always does. The question isn't whether governments do this. They do. They always have. They always will. The math of running an empire, paying armies, fighting wars, keeping people fed, almost always leads here. The question is simple. What are you holding? When Diocletian broke the economy with price controls, 2 groups of people survived better than everyone else. The ones who had been paid in gold and the ones who had traded their copper discs for something real before anyone else figured out they were worthless. The people who waited too long.